Languages through music. Languages through music. Languages through music. Languages through music. Hello and a warm welcome to the Languages to Music podcast. Now, this is the coziest series recorded to date with tea and blankets and music. And Mona Al-Merstany, who's an artist and educator extraordinaire, who I had the wonderful luck of meeting a few years back thanks to Natkalam, who's just been accepted into Concordia University to do a linguistics degree. So she's a rock star, and we're very, very glad to have you on the podcast today, Habibti Elbi.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy today. I'm so excited. Thank you for making me do this again. And that's the announcement. I just got accepted.
Yeah, that's such wonderful news. Where were you when you found out?
I was home. It was the morning time. I was having my coffee and I just received an email and I'm like, uh-oh. Because I've been expecting, it's been a while, it's a bit overdue. I'm like, yeah, the thing that was calming me down is that I was going to receive an email, whether it's negative or positive. So I'm like, I will receive an email. Let me just be patient. I did, and I opened it, and it was like, it had this PDF file in it. And it's in the first line, like, we offer you admission, you've been offered admission from Concordia. It's in the first line, yet it took me like maybe 7 minutes to get to it because I was reading every single letter from the top of the file, like the letter, the message. I was reading it letter by letter, number by number, the date.
Just to make sure, no mistake.
Exactly. You sure you're sending it to me? Is that me, really? Yeah, and and I don't remember anything.
They are lucky to have you. Tell us a bit about the beginning of your musical journey before we come back to your linguistics journey. What was the beginning of your music journey?
As a musician, you mean? Kind of, yeah. I feel like it began like when I was very, very, very little, singing to myself, singing, like doing the dishes, singing in the shower, I was a lonely child, to be honest. Like, I wasn't surrounded by so many people my age. I didn't have like so many conversations or talks with like people when I was little. So I would just be singing like in free times. Nobody cared around because they're all grown-ups and they were busy doing their things. But I got like, life happened and I just grew up and I did many different things. And then eventually when I was in Lebanon, 2016, that's when I first left Syria and went to Lebanon, I met a friend of mine who had already like formed a band with his friend called As-Saalik, and they were like working in Beirut. They were like about 5 people, and they were doing some gigs, they were doing some music, they had originals. And when we came to Beirut, my partner and I, they wanted people to like be in the band, so they asked my partner to be the guitarist in the band. He's a guitarist, and he's like, yeah, sure. And he didn't know, my friend didn't know that I sing. And out of nowhere, I don't know, he just said to me like, why don't you sing? Like, do you sing? What else do you do other than painting? Because he knew I graduated like in painting and oil painting, and he was like, what else do you do? I'm like, yeah, I do sing a little bit while painting, while in the shower. I'm not sure if I can share that voice with the public. He's like, let's just listen something. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I did. I sang a little bit, and he was like, yeah, sure. Would you like to join us in the band? I'm like, sure, I think. I don't know. I wasn't sure what my answer wanted to be, you know. And I just said yes, and also life happened. The rest of the band weren't in Beirut, where they weren't around. They were traveling until December the 25th, so the Christmas night, 2016. Yes. Um, we were together. Some of the band members had like came back from traveling, and I was just like mumming an old Syrian folk music that I used to love so much, and the oud player heard it, and my partner heard it. It's like, "What are you singing?" I'm like, "Yeah, Burdayan." You know, the song is like, "Yeah, how does it go?" And they knew it, of course. Like we all know it in the back of our heads, but I knew the words and everything. And I started singing, and they started playing along, and we started recording something, thinking that it was just on my friend's personal account, like, or it's just gonna be like something to keep, like a fun video to just record and watch and laugh, and we did that, and he put it on his social, like on his Facebook personal page. I was laughing the entire time in the video. My hair didn't look good.
Your hair always is good. Sure.
My hair, I'm like, had I knew, I would have fixed my hair. It was like 10 minutes until it got like 8,000 views, and
Whoa.
it went really big. And we were surprised to see, and it was just his personal page, not even the Asalik like band page or anything. And we realized that people loved it. We realized we enjoyed it so much,
Yeah.
and we started digging more in folk songs and
In Syrian folk songs
learning
or all
more.
over?
We were specific. We wanted, like, the project for the future was going to be like to go through all of the Arab countries and like they learn songs from the cultures and all that. But we didn't have the chance. We were too busy digging in Syria's, and we still didn't do enough, of course, like to cover all the regions and all the traditional music in different areas. But we did what we did, and it was so good. We started looking for songs. People started suggesting songs and music, and we
Wow.
take that into consideration. It was so good, and yeah, we started playing a little bit with the music. Like we wouldn't keep the exact same melody, maybe, or arrangement, or all of that. It was so much fun, and since then, yeah, we started perform. We started get invitations to perform in different venues in Beirut, but also Europe and the Emirates and like all of these countries. But of course, Syrians, we cannot really go so many places. We couldn't travel with the music, with the band to like perform. But yeah, we did get a lot of invitations. It was so good.
I remember watching a big show on Netflix that you had a song in. Remind me, was that the same era of this band or was that a solo thing after? Remind me, which
It
show
was
was
kind
that?
of, it was Dollar.
Dollar! Yes! Remember? Yeah, that was a big show. And then I remember hearing your voice and I was like, oh, that's my Arabic teacher. That's amazing. I remember now.
Dalida, I love Dalida. I love Dalida. That was such a fun experience,
The
and
leader,
it's
that was
great
a
that you
Dalida
mentioned.
cover. Mish?
It was a Dalida, exactly. It was the Parole. Um, it's great to you mentioned that because it says something about, because I didn't speak French back then. It was the end of Asalik time, like the last year I was in Beirut, and it was a solo thing. Like I was just personally asked to perform this as like a dubbing for the main actress, for the actress, I mean, and I did it, and it was in French, and it was a completely new song. I didn't know the song before that. I practiced and I tried, and I think it's
It was
good. It's not
beautiful.
bad. Yeah, it was
No,
fun.
it
It was
was
really
really
fun to
beautiful.
record that.
Who are some of your main influences in terms of singing? Who are some of the divas you especially love?
I love so many of them, but I grew up. I still remember there are two ladies that I love so much from growing up, and they're like old singers. Like one of them passed away, I guess. Is Warda الجزائرية. second one is Najat الصغيرة. She had a song called لا تنتقد خجلي, and it was just epic. It would show on the local TV, like in weird times. She's wearing this huge, like beautiful, glittery white dress with her hair like back, and she's like hugging the mic when singing, and she's all like very emotional, and people would interrupt her to just
Clap for her.
applaud
That's
for applaud, and she would stop for like a second and smile, this like shy smile, and continue that. For some reason, this is very like stuck in my head until now, and it just felt so feminine and so powerful, and the whole song was very powerful, honestly. Like yeah, it's a man woman song, like about some kind of a comparison, in fact, between how he behaves and how she behaves, or more like reacts to it. It was great. It was great. I feel like, yeah, since then I got attached to music. The words are amazing, the music is amazing. That influenced me a lot. Later, growing up, in my like teenaging, I would say, late teenaging, I was like started to go to school. Ghada Shbeir, that's like a Lebanese singer whom I got the chance to meet, see in a concert in Lebanon. It was the best day. I love her so much. Yeah, she has a great voice. She also, like, she was the reason why I started exploring in Assyrian language, because the first time and the first thing I heard for her singing was a prayer, like a Maronite chant, like chanson of like a prayer. It was like a long, extended, different like prayers in one piece. It was like about 40 minutes, and I was just listening to that day and night. I memorized even like some of the words. It had some Arabic in it as well, but it was mostly Assyrian. And from that, I started exploring in the Assyrian, in the like alphabet and words and all that. I wanted to know the meanings of what I'm singing, and it was, yeah.
That's beautiful. You mentioned earlier Assyrian, Aramaic, like how much of other languages kind of influenced you in terms of music before and after?
I feel like English mainly was the very first language, and I learned my English from music 100%.
Oh yeah, and who in particular? Who were your teachers?
Oh my God, Eminem.
That I was not expecting.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Wow, I was
I
thinking,
gotta say,
I was running to diva names in my Eminem.
Yes, yes, I couldn't. I have to.
That's
I
so
have to
funny.
say it, and I have to say it out loud. He was
No
my
judgment.
English teacher. No judgment. No judgment. And I honestly still do a little bit. Like, I don't listen to him anymore now. Like, really. And I find that weird. Like, I had memorized all of his songs, every single
And I think when you're a kid or a teenager, you get so obsessive about lyrics, like, and so obsessive about. For me, it was Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was obsessed. And yesterday, I saw some graffiti, and in London, and I just looked at it, and I just knew, like, immediately before I got to the end, I'm like, oh, that's a Chili Pepper lyric. Like, someone's graffitied that on a house. It's so funny.
Wow.
But yeah, I knew all the lyrics.
I had notebooks where I would just write down the lyrics. I would listen to the song. That was before the internet.
Yeah.
First of all, it was not easy to get the song itself, like to have the song where you can listen to whenever you want. I would just sit on the TV, like wait for it to show up on TV and get excited about it. It was so hard until there was like this USB drive where you can get songs from people.
hard.
I would give it to my friend. She'd put everything on it. That's amazing. And just give it back, and I have all the music. That was later. Like, that was those were the good times. Or like, oh yeah, we have access to
Yeah,
music and
it was
technology,
a
and
lot
oh my god.
of
But
guesswork.
of course, 2006, 2007, I would just have to wait for the song to show up, and I wasn't. Speaking of which, I wasn't allowed to see or like listen to English music or like music that is not Arabic because of the videos they used to have
Yeah, yeah,
usually,
yeah.
and like the way I was brought, it just does not go along with that.
But I
Like,
remember
what do
from
you think you're doing?
no, I remember from Amman. I used to live there in the 90s, and I remember going to a music store in Amman, like mid 90s, and it was a lot of censoring. Like even if the girl was in a tight top, it was censored. Fine, whatever. But then I would buy the cassette, and sometimes it was a completely different like album or like a mixtape of something completely different. So I ended up listening to all these songs when I was, that really impressionable age, like 12 to 13. And I can sing you them from start to end, but I have no idea who sang it at all. Like I would buy, a Bjork cassette or a Sade or whatever, and it would be completely other stuff. I remember this shop was called Stallions, and I would go get these cassettes, and it was just like a mystery surprise each time. It was so funny. But
Wow,
I think that made me a kind
wow.
of open-minded listener because I was used to just not getting what I expected every time I went to the music store.
Of course, yeah, you don't know, and me, like my age, I didn't even, I couldn't, like that. I'm talking earlier now, like 6, 7 years. I was, and I would just I have to listen to what we have at home. I can't even just go and pick a cassette like to buy like specific. I still remember we had cassettes with like my sister's voices on them, like
Oh,
before my parents used to record them, and like singing and saying things and playing like roles, acting and whatever. And on the same cassette would be a song.
oh, half the song, half the kids.
Warda. Exactly like a Safar, the song for Warda. What was the name? Oh my God, yeah. I would listen to the recordings and then the song show up and I'm like, oh, the first time I'm like, oh, that's not in my interest, and then the second time, oh, what is she saying? And then the third time I started singing along, and
And then you just,
and it goes on and on. And yeah, I would just see what my sisters got as music, and I have to listen to it, and I have no other option.
I love
It
that.
was all my sisters. They were good. Yeah, they were good. I got exposed to many Arab like singers and musicians because of my sisters. They would like and the pop songs specifically, like the ones that were recently like coming. And yeah, it was a great experience. Now I'm remembering this Miami poster you got.
Miami, I love that band you introduced me to. They were just so hilarious.
I
I
love
still say
Miami.
lyrics all the time from that lyric.
Lyrics.
Lyrics.
خليك lyrics وامشي.
Yeah, it's so funny. I love their videos and everything. And I guess Beirut is such an exciting city too in terms of arts and music and being a crossroad for so many cultures and so many languages. I saw a post the other day about how Beirutis mix French, English, Arabic like all the time. Every other sentence
Of
is
course.
another language. So I know that you are a French speaker now too, based as you are in Quebec. So who are some of the French artists
Very.
that got you into la francophonie?
Hmm.
Artists or festivals or resources?
Of course, so Dalida, definitely.
Hmm.
First of all, Dalida. Um, I remember. I want to say Stromae, definitely. Like the very first one, Stromae. I still like listen to his music to review my French,
Hmm.
to, to see, and it's very meaningful and all of that. There was a singer that's like the one of the first like French songs I started learning. His name is Vianney.
Yeah,
Vianney.
come on.
Oh gosh, I forgot how to pronounce his name, but he's great. I'll find him for you, and of course, Indira. What was her name? The
Data.
Oh ma douce France.
Mm,
What was her name? Indy? In
mm, I can.
my God, that's old.
I don't know. French or
I
from
don't
somewhere
know.
else?
Indila. Indila.
Indila. I
Yes,
don't know
Indila.
her.
You know
No, Indila. I don't know her. 385 million views. You?
Of course, she's big. She's big, and she was really like, she has this like very fine, high pitch kind of voice, and it's really nice. I love this song, the one that showed up, Tournée dans la vida, and that was definitely like a reason I started singing her songs and learning and all that. Of course, first of everyone, Edith Piaf.
Yeah. I remember teaching this lady who was 90 something years old in the Philippines, 1 hour a week. And all she wanted to do was learn Edith Piaf songs. And her French was like perfect. And she started in 1985, 1 hour a week. And now she just wanted Edith Piaf each time. And it was amazing. She was 90 something in a wheelchair, very thin, very frail. But as soon as a song would come on, she would just come to life. It was just the most beautiful thing.
Wow, wow, wow. I that totally gets to me. Like I believe this moment. You know what you're saying? Like when a song comes on and
that was
she's like all brought to
Yeah,
life.
that was really before I started Languages to Music. It's before I moved to London. This must have been like 2009 or 10. And yeah, I would see this little old lady come in and she would just speak this beautiful French. And she'd learned it. She just put it down to Edith. Literally, like she had no interest in other artists. She was like, just Edith Piaf. All the way in the Philippines.
Wow.
It was just, yeah, it was amazing. Just how
Wow.
music can reach us, or a lot of people at least, in like unexpected ways.
I honestly believe that music can reach every single person. Like because if you think of types of music and genres and all of that, everyone gets touched by music because everyone loves, even those who don't listen to music, they love a certain type, a certain melody, a certain kind of tune of music that would resonate with them and have them be like vibing,
Yeah,
even if they're not aware of it. It gets to every single person, and it's out of our control, out of our hands. We cannot control how we feel when we get music.
that's it. And speaking of out of our hands, have you experimented with any of this AI stuff? Any of these AI platforms for music? I just tried one for the first time last week called Suno, Suno. You put in your lyrics, or maybe just a word or two. You choose your style of music, and they have thousands to choose from. And in about 20 seconds, it just generates a song. And it was so wild. I tried it the other day with my boyfriend. I put in Kirundi. I was like, okay, maybe it can only do English. But I put in Kirundi words and like just traditional style. And it just generated this thing. And he was like, he's also a musician. He's like, oh my God, I'm out of a job. This thing's going for our jobs. But it's so wild how, yeah, AI and machinery, they're somehow trying to they're able to generate music. Of course, it's never the same as a human, living, breathing human being, but it's wild how far along the technology is. Like, I can see why people are worried. Producers?
Yeah. Wow, yes, exactly. I'm starting to wonder now, like, can we call them originals in this case? Like, do I bring this song and be like, that's my original?
Yeah, if you gave it the prompt, is it yours? Who owns the rights?
Who owns the rights? Exactly. It's so problematic, and yeah, everyone is in danger. Like, we're very easy to get rid of right now.
Yeah.
You still, yeah, absolutely. I have not explored, but now you're making me want to.
It's wild, and then
Actually,
a lot of these apps and websites for language learning are using it too, and yeah, it's a wild new tech world. But how did you get into teaching?
mm, okay, beautiful story. It was through نتكلم. I I knew I loved languages before. I knew I had like this English um, experience where I just realized that I speak English. Suddenly, I was not aware of that. But when I was in the situation,
Eminem
I'm
was
like, oh,
doing his
I
work.
have English. And exactly, subconsciously, it's like be living there and like, yeah, you can say that now. I was like, I did not realize I had words, and then when I started speaking, I'm like, oh, I know how to say that. Okay, I'm gonna say it.
Wow.
I think I know. It was on me. So later, when I was in Beirut, 2017, I started working as a waitress in a resto bar in Beirut, and that was my very first job experience. I had left Syria like a few months ago, like just like a couple of months ago, and I was 20, 21. I had no idea what life was, and I had this like little fight with the people that I work with the manager, and he was like very disrespectful, and I walked away. A 21-year-old, no financial stability, no nothing, walked away. I'm like, nope, that's not gonna happen. And all of this empowerment turned into a breakdown when I got home. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, I'm jobless. I have no rent. I have no nothing. I was really worried, and I had a friend in Beirut who is American, and she spoke Arabic pretty well. She was really good, and I was telling her that yeah, that happened, and I'm very anxious, and etc. And she's like, oh, you know what? You should just like apply to نتكلم. I'm like, explain. She's like, yeah, that's recently. They were new. They were very new at the time. It's like, yeah, my friend has this. She's friends with the founder, and it's like she has this kind of platform slash organization where they bring like Syrian people. It was specific to Syrians who are displaced and would like to share their language, like talk to people who don't speak Arabic or do and just want to practice their Arabic, and you can teach. I'm like, yeah, but I can't teach. I don't have like an Arabic literature degree, whatever. She's like, you don't need all that. You don't need. It's just a conversation. You're just gonna be having a conversation, like the way you talk to me, like the way you teach me when you when we speak and whatever. Like when you tell me how to say this and that. I'm like, okay, sure. She's like, yeah, just go. Tori recommended me, and you'll be like, they'll answer you. I did. I emailed. I received a response later, and we started. Like they interviewed me. I had this like little interview with one of their conversation partners, and I liked it. And I got my first student June 14th, 2017.
Wow, you remember the day. That's amazing.
Of course, I remember the date, the person. Oh, and the person, by the way, she was a composer. She was a British composer settled in Emirat, Dubai, I guess, or Abu Dhabi, I'm not sure. But yeah, she was a musician, and she loved our music as well as Salik, and she was really interested in that. We kept talking for like last time I talked to her, I was in Victoria, so
Okay.
that's like 3 years after I met her. Like we stayed for a long time. Um, yeah, and after that, it was very slow with Natakallam. It was we didn't used to have so many students. It would be like far for like the dates from one another because of not having so many students, of course. And it was just Syrian. It was just like Syrian people, the people learning Arabic from Syrians, whether Amiya or Fusha or whatever they want to do. And later, of course, like unfortunately, with all the crisis in the world, like now there are immigrants from all over the world, and yeah, it's all like crazy. But that made them have other departments, like other sections in the program. They have French, they have Spanish, they
Yeah.
have, I think Armenian and Kurdish, like Persian for sure. They have Persian. I think recently also Ukrainian. They have these great like now other like sections in the program, and my favorite is the cultural exchange or refugee voices sessions. That's when I just it's not really related to the language. I don't teach Arabic in these sessions. I more like talk about my culture, talk about my background, about my journey from Syria to Canada, cross culture kind of explanation, and talking about the entire journey as a refugee, as a woman of color, musician, artist, all of that. I love these ones. Yeah.
No, same. I really, and that's what I loved learning with you too. Like we were always exploring different styles and cultures, and yeah, you do that. You do that so well.
Exactly.
And
Yes,
Habibti,
you were very open-minded to also music. Like that
yeah,
was really cool.
that's why we're going to collaborate on a new 30-day Arabic playlist featuring some of your music, Kaman. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Before you get too busy with your linguistic studies at Concordia, that's
Exactly.
our
Let's do
plan.
that. Let it be the project this
That's
summer.
it, our summer project. And I just have one more question to wrap up. I could talk to you all day, but recording wise, we just I just have one more question then. You have this beautiful command of Arabic, English, French. If you had all the time in the world, what other languages would you want to learn? Maybe based off of, a music that you love but you don't know the language, or a culture that you're interested in. Yeah, what is your wish list, your language wish list?
Yeah, I can easily say all languages in the world. I would want to learn all of them. And like when I say learn, it's for me, it's starting to explore. I learned so much from my students, by the way, like my teaching, is that it's not really about being fluent in the language. It's just that having your mind exposed to the potentials of this language, what it carries of like culture and everything else. So that's the part that counts for me, really. Like once I am exposed to one little grammar in, let's say, Japanese, whatever. Like, I'm really like feeling Japanese right now. Like I really want to learn the language, but once I'm exposed to just a little detail in that language, I'll start to think accordingly. I'll start just to keep in mind that, and that's something I know about the language is gonna stay. I don't have to speak like all fluently and everything. I just want to expose to how different humans on different places on Earth interpreted their thoughts in what structure, what shape. Like it amazes me, for example, as much as they're different, Arabic and French, but the similarities in the structure in building the language and the complexity of the logic of the language,
Yeah.
like that's just fascinates me. I would really, really love to explore in Japanese, in Spanish, definitely. I want to learn so bad. I want to sing all the
Yeah,
songs
Spanish
in
music is so
Spanish.
great.
Beautiful language. Yes, I French is a language I want to be fluent in just out of a challenge because I feel like it was made not to be learned.
It was made to challenge and distress you, in my opinion. Even though, like,
Exactly.
I can hold my own in French now. Ooh, la souffrance que j'ai passée.
La souffrance.
It's just like, yo. Yeah,
I feel like they intend for it to be that hard and to have so many variations that you cannot just wrap your head
hard.
around.
I feel it's
I
hard
guess that
even for francophone. Like the times I've asked my francophone friends, like, oh, I'm applying for a job. Could you just look over my CV in French? They'd be like, okay, but we need like a week. It's like, wait, it's your language. Like, you shouldn't need a week. Just look at the thing and tell me it's okay. They were all like, yeah, but formal French. Like, wow.
exactly, exactly the registres, les registres, they're all different
Yeah.
and very different and from country to another. And also, it kind of like in my head, it's kind of like, yeah, I speak Arabic. It's my mother tongue. I have to learn something about the souffrance that people go through learning Arabic because
Yeah,
again, it's also similar when it comes to this, like the very different accents, very different ways of speaking, formal from the informal, uh, the kids' language, grown-ups
It
language.
makes you a
It's
better teacher. Like,
so many
I don't
variables.
know how people teach a language without
Absolutely.
having tried to learn another one, even
Another
their
one,
mother tongue.
absolutely. When I started learning French, I feel like I was here as a teacher. I became here when I started learning French.
Okay.
Because, first of all, I would learn from my teachers'
Hmm.
ways of teaching.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's for sure. But also, when I was aware of certain grammar, certain things, details in the language, I was somehow able to explain mine better.
Yeah.
Whether they're similar or different, I was able to explain difficult and complicated things in Arabic better.
Hmm.
And I was able to understand what a student's point of view is and how much they can take in one session.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was kind of able to get that. It's yes, it's so different,
And
absolutely.
catching mistakes,
I love this now.
like I
Yeah.
sometimes when it's easier to see when it's someone else, and then you catch yourself doing it, and like, oh, trying to reroute.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I really want to explore in ancient languages. Like, I want to explore more in Assyrian. I want to know more about the language and the history and all of that. I don't feel like I know enough. And I want to say Indian too,
Hmm.
like Sanskrit from,
Sanskrit. Boy, okay.
yes. I'm I'm also fascinated by the culture there. It's just so attractive for me to learn and to look at and all that. Yeah, I once learned an Indian. It's not an Indian song. I can't say it's an Indian song. It's an Indian national anthem.
Mm.
I learned it. I had no idea what they were saying, and I just like really enjoyed the sound and what they're saying. And then
Okay.
eventually, like I learned eventually that it's just like places, it's cities and places in
What a
India,
name,
and
a list of
they're talking
names.
about names, exactly, names of the places in India, and a little bit about like nature, water, and a little bit of God and here and there. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful anthem. I want to learn
Ah,
more,
you have to find the
definitely.
link. You have to find the link and send it. I was talking about this the other day because it's like Bollywood was such a huge influence. Like
Yeah,
in Africa and the Middle East, I think everyone in the world has watched a Bollywood film at least once in their lives. So I think a lot of those songs, like
at
I
least
can
once.
think of the melodies even if I don't know what it's
Yeah,
about or
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
And that's really interesting about the ancient languages. Have to look into some ancient language, ancient music, language to music for ancient languages would be a great project actually because ancient languages
With
are
love.
like the ultimate scary. Like, oh no, that's gonna be too hard. I don't want to go look at that. Like Sanskrit, no, thank you. But if you could find
Yeah,
some old music, then it might make it a little less daunting. Like the
that would
predecessor
be
of
amazing.
Amharic and Tigrinya in Eritrea and Ethiopia is Gi'ez, and I would love to look at it, but it's like the scary old biblical script, like only scholars know it. But yeah,
Yeah,
all the old church songs are in Gi'ez, so like getting to it towards that. With music, there's always a
exactly, and
way,
it's a beautiful melody. Yeah,
always a
yeah.
way.
Because the melody like just forces you to have a relationship with the piece,
Yeah,
and therefore a relationship with the word that you're hearing.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I totally agree.
Habibti, thank you so much for your time today and this super fascinating conversation and all the ideas as always. Elf Mabruk again on Concordia. I'm going to be calling you Dr. Al-Merstany already from now. Linguistics and musics and all the rest. And
Miss Linguistics.
yeah, thank you so much, Habibti.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun. I knew it was gonna be
It's
fun,
always
and
fun.
I was looking
It's
forward to it,
always fun
and it is.
chatting these wonderful things with you. So shukran ktir, and stay
It is.
tuned, listeners, for
Yes.
new Arabic materials, new online classes. Mona's a wonderful teacher, as you can imagine. So Have a wonderful day.
Come on, I'll bring you amazing music.
That is a guarantee, a super guarantee. Like Miami Band and Feiruz, and I need all the names you mentioned today too, because you're always introducing me to new music, which I appreciate so much.
Yes, I will send you links right now on WhatsApp for like the two ladies I used to listen to when I was like 6 maybe or 7.
Wow.
Oh my god, I love them, and we'll definitely talk about Michelle and Noel Kasirwani because I love music that have a cause, like
Absolutely.
and a message and a case, and it's like a resisting kind of meaning. Yeah, we will definitely talk about all of this.
Absolutely, and more. Thank you, Hariti.
Languages to music.